Oh, pretty ladies. Hello, my precious students and viewers from the YouTube. Welcome to another deck profile replay type dealio about decks. Today we are, judging by the title, discussing Melodious, and they are very reasonably underrated, but still fun to play. With their simple addition win con of creating a lock on the board and having the potential of being a beatdown deck, which is kind of fun. No, they do not have any of their own unique negates or disruptions, so we had to add those in ourselves. Before we go ahead and continue on, let me just mention to go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and don't forget to join our Discord server and share with us everything else that you know about Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Or if you're just looking for someone to learn, we can help you. Anyways, as we're moving along, we're going to show you 5 replay videos of basically showcasing how the deck works and allowing you to come up with your own conclusion on the deck before I discuss more about the deck. Alright, let's go. Okay, so as you can see from the replays, is that we would definitely need Elegi and Arya both being special summoned onto the field in order for the deck to basically work. Great ways to do that is Ostinato, the spell card, but if you can't do that, there's a basic 2-con combo, any Melodious monster plus Sonata or Cannon, and then you basically can go into the Bloom Harmonious so that you can special summon your 2 targets. Unfortunately, the Bloom Harmonious, they actually have to be required from deck and not from your hand. So if you have Elegi in your hand and you only have like 1 copy of Elegi, you kind of basically can only do part of the combo, part of the lock. But also, if you noticed, a lot of their capabilities, and I just realized stuff was happening. Oh well, it's fine. You kind of have to deal with using Honest and Score to alter your opponent's attack points. In that last game, we were afraid to attack because I know the person we were playing is Stella. She's a wonderful duelist, very kind-hearted, very excitable. She was running Drowning Mirror Force, and I was afraid to attack because if I attacked, I would have lost the everything else. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the deck list. Okay, so now we're here with the deck list with this all lovely stuff. It's very beautiful. Very, very, very beautiful. It's actually really consistent of a deck. I will be 100% honest with you. I really enjoy how this deck works. So right now we have one Mazatar. This card isn't really necessary in the build. You can actually opt this out for another Elegy, but she is still Maestra, so that you can go ahead and go into your Bloom Prima or your Bloom Diva. So do keep that in mind. We also have one copy of Elegy. We only really need the one copy. You can run this set too, but any more than that and you're looking at bricks for days. Next we have the harpist herself, Arya, the Melodious Diva. This is a really important card, as I was discussing earlier. Can't be destroyed or targeted by destroyed by battle or targeted by card effects. Elegy is the one that basically says can't be destroyed by card effects at all, and that's why we were afraid of the Drowning Mirror Force, because it doesn't target and doesn't destroy. We also have a playset of Cannon, because you know she's pretty important. What she is if you control a Melodious monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only do it once per turn this way, though. So, you can also change the battle positions, but we don't use that for. Fusion Lady, Soprano. We use her for some of our fusion summonings sometimes. We can actually opt her down to 1 if we really wanted to and have a second Elegy. 2 copies of Honest. Another card that could potentially turn into a 3 of if you really want to. I run it at 2 because you don't really need to boost your attacks, but it's also pretty nice to have regardless. 2 Condemned Witch, the only non-light only other non-light monster in the deck, because it brings us our FU card. Plus, it also allows us to special summon our Arya, which is really important, because if she's special summoned, that's when her effect kicks in. Then we have 3 copies of Sonata, because why not have more cards that can special summon themselves if you have a Melodious monster on the board? Plus, it's an attack booster, so yay! Mainly for your fairy monsters. Anything else, then they don't get it. 3 copies of No. 3 copies of let's turn your monster's attack to a 0, because we're like kind of like that reptile archetype deck thing. Yeah, words. 2 copies of I'm a better version of Pot of Duality. In my opinion, this is a better version of the Pot of Duality. 3 copies of This is a fusion spell without actually being a fusion spell. This is basically our start for our 1-card combos. And then 3 copies of, I guess, a version of Unexpected Die in a sense, but for Melodious. I don't know. But it also locks you into you can only special summon Melodious monsters as a result. 1 copy is of Monster Reborn, because we want to special summon our Melodious monsters, so we really don't care if we discard them if we can special summon them back from the grave. 2 copies of Forbidden Droplets, because, well, why not keep with the theme? This is also a negate card. It also halves the attack points, making our monsters the bigger monsters. 1 copy of Fortissimo? Yeah. Fortissimo. I cannot pronounce these cards. Can boost an attack, but you can also use it for fusion summoning, which is why we run it at 1. 3 copies of I'm infinitely imperming your shit. Yeah, negate card. And then 2 copies of I love this card for dear life because you can special summon but also banish your opponent's cards. 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. And into the extra deck. We have 2 copies of Bloom Prima, the Melodious Choir. We don't really go into her, even though we could, potentially. But we also run 3 copies of Shibuda, the Melodious Maestra. This is our main Melodious fusion monster that we have to go into in order to make our combo off of Ostinato. 2 copies of Bloom Diva, the Melodious Choir. Why not? Continue on the damaging of effects with attack points and stuff. And since it's easy for us to get 2 level 4s out. It's really easy for us to get 2 level 4s out. We have, for Xyz monsters, 1 Tornado Dragon for Spell and Trap Hate. And Castell, the Sky Striker Musketeer, because why not? Bouncing cards. For the links, we have Access Code Talker, super easy to get into. 1 Nightmare Unicorn, again, super easy to get to. It's pretty much a staple in most decks that can link summon and don't use up a whole lot of their extra decks. Same with Nightmare Phoenix. Again, we don't like back row. Let's hate on back row. 2 copies of Bloom Harmonious, the Melodious Composer. This card is extremely important for you to get into your block. If you don't have Ostinato in hand, but you have a way to get 2 fairy monsters onto the field, this is your go-to card. Of course, again, it locks you into Melodious, I believe. Yes, it does. And then we also have 1 copy of Herald of Mirage Lights. Why not negate some spells and traps, why don't we? Into the side deck, it's pretty standard. We have 2 copies of, oh my god, that's a big rock! AKA Nibiru. 1 copy of That's a Really Big Kitty. 1 copy of I'm a Dino That's Gonna Punch you in the Face. 2 copies of No Shadow Ram Lance. 2 copies of You're Not Touching Your Graveyard. 1 copy of Let's Go Ahead and Sweep That Spell and Trap Card Zone out of here. 2 copies of No monster effects. 2 copies of Let's Go Ahead and Send Your Spells and Trap Cards to the Shadow Realm. And then 1 copy of Let's Go Ahead and just discard because we can and negate stuff. Basically, if you want to be able to find your Forbidden Droplet a little bit more easier off of, instead of just using Condemn Witch, you can like sit there and go Fortismo. Yeah, let's do that. And then 1 copy of Holy Shit, there's a trap card. Let's hit the big red button. Get out of here. That's pretty much the deck. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye!